is Your Health, a podcast of the Integrated Health and Social Services University Network for West Central Montreal.
Hello and welcome to Your Health. I'm Barry Morgan. When someone gets a cancer diagnosis, it is understandably a very, very difficult situation. How someone reacts varies from person to person. The person may experience anxiety either at the time of diagnosis, when waiting for results, or at the beginning of treatment, but there are ways to deal with that anxiety. And to tell us more, we are joined by Mona Wizenberg, a cancer survivor and a volunteer peer mentor with Hope and Cope. That's an organization within CIUS West Central Montreal that provides psychosocial support for people dealing with cancer. Ms. Wizenberg, first of all, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, and you can call me Mona.
Thank you for that, Mona. So you have some experience that really nobody wants, not only one, but in fact, 2 cancer diagnoses. Can you tell us about your story, Mona? What happened?
Back in 2014, I was experiencing problems with burning and urinary problems, and I had gone several times to have checks, been put on antibiotics, etc., etc. Eventually, it got to a point where I said, okay, this is a little more than it is. My doctor said, okay, let's send you for a cystoscopy. Did that, had the cystoscopy. I always look at the monitors, noticed something there that looked like a little flower, asked the doctor, that's kind of unusual, isn't it? And said to him, could it be cancer? I didn't expect him to say, yes, 99% sure it is, but don't worry, it's a very low grade, we'll take it out and it'll be gone.
But you didn't expect it yet.
I never expected him to say yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a shock.
So what happened in terms of therapy and treatment?
Well, I didn't need any chemo. It was a day surgery, TURBT it's called, where they go internally. They don't cut you from outside. I was put out for the first time in my life, never been put under, and basically got sent home with a catheter, got rid of it in a day or two, and went back to normal, kind of to normal,
okay.
You know. Whatever normal is anymore, you don't really know. But yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, you know, it took time to heal. The summer was a little rough for healing, but there was no chemo. So the next year, I went to Cuba. That was our 3rd trip. Came back with a bunch of rashes, actually had a tick bite, and started noticing some weird things going on with my eye after a very strong cat allergy at my friend's house. Had that checked out, was put on penicillin, forgot I was allergic to penicillin, reacted to that. Came back from Cuba with about 3 different rashes on my body. Didn't know what was going on. Finally, my eye started to be pushed down by something, and that was I forgot one of the weirdest things is I had big bumps forming on my cheeks, and I never knew I had parotid glands there. So I had those biopsied. I had my lymph gland biopsied, and I had a skin biopsy because I had weird rash going on my face. None of them came back cancer. I was going, yippee, 3, that's fantastic, we're good. Then my eye started being pushed down, and it felt like I had something growing over my eye. That was biopsied. That's where they found the cancer. So
what kind of cancer?
It's called mantle cell lymphoma. It's a rare form of lymphoma. Lymphoma is a very common thing that a lot of people do have, but it's about, I believe, if I'm correct, 5 to 7% of all lymphomas are mantle cell. And we're hearing about it more and more, which is kind of scary. I keep hearing someone saying, yeah, I have mantle cell lymphoma, and I haven't. And it's weird. You know, it's like when you buy a blue car, all of a sudden you see blue cars everywhere. Well, you know, it was very strange to start finding out that more and more people I was speaking to, they had a relative who had mantle cell when I never heard about it.
What did you go through with that in terms of that moment?
Well, that was, I had very, very heavy chemo. It was 6 sessions, but 3 were hospital visits where you stay over for 2 days and you get chemo every 12 hours and very strong chemo. And then the other 3 are in the chair at the Jewish in their beautiful unit there. And then after that, I had a stem cell transplant, and it was a peripheral, so it was my own stem cells. That was rough. I was in the hospital 3 weeks short 2 days, and it took me a long time to recuperate from that. That knocked me out. So I lost my hair twice, went down to skin. I had long hair.
What's going through your mind when, I mean, you've already dealt with bladder cancer, and now here you are dealing with a much more serious form of cancer?
The first thing that went through my mind is, are they related? And that's one of the first questions I asked the doctor. And he said, no, they're completely different. My biggest fear was, okay, is this hereditary? Am I passing something horrible on to my kids? I was very happy, and I was so happy to find out it was not hereditary. That was the best news for me, and I shared that with my family. I mean, me, okay, I'll deal with it. If I die, I die. You know, I take life beautifully. I'm happy every day. If I die tomorrow, I've lived fully. I don't have any big bucket lists like a lot of people do. I don't want to die tomorrow. No, thank you, God. But, yeah, that was my first concern. The second thing was, how is this going to change my life? And how long will I live? Because right away, I'm a researcher. So not a professional, but,
but
I
like
research. I
yeah.
really look into things. And when I found that it's like diagnosis sometimes is 3 to 5 years and you die, I went, you know, this is scary.
So what helped you deal with that anxiety, Mona?
What helped me deal with that, first of all, was speaking to other people. I was very fortunate to get this girl who I had asked my doctor if anyone else had mantle cell. Once she called me, shared with me, she went through the exact same protocol as I did, the same chemo routine, everything. So she basically ran me through it, told me what to expect. And that took a lot of my anxiety away because I was really frightened. I also had a very close girlfriend who was just finishing, the day I started my chemo, she was having her last round for breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And she's my very best friend from 30, 40 years. She helped me through it a lot too, and my husband and my family.
So tell me about your experience at Hope and Cope, where you volunteer as a peer mentor. How, in fact, does it work?
Oh, Hope and Cope is an amazing place, an amazing organization. It's very well run. They're there for you 100%. So when I lost my hair, I went there. They gave me a free wig. They gave me 2 free wigs, actually. They gave me things to cover my head. They gave me things, support, like emotional support. I went to the center. I actually did some, not Tai Chi, Qigong and art for a little while. But just the fact that they were so supportive, the social worker was very supportive, and then having this woman who was helping me through it was really good. But Hope and Cope's an amazing place.
And you've helped others now.
The first thing that I wanted to do when I finished, after watching what other people were going through, because when you're sitting at chemo, you're in a big ward. And I watched some people who were there alone and how sad and lonely they looked. And I felt horrible. I never was alone in the chair. I always had my husband or my friend, or usually my husband, but my kids came, my daughter came from Toronto. And to see people going through things alone like that, it's terrible. You know, you're going through such a change and you have no one to sit with you and make you feel safe. So I decided if I get out of this, like the woman who helped me, she made me feel so much better. I wanted to make sure other people going through stem cell transplants and very serious chemo, that I would be there for them.
It obviously made a difference for you getting the kind of support that you needed. What was it like for you to give the support and to see how that affects somebody else?
That I had very mixed emotions. It felt really good. I felt like I was really able to help them get through it and lighten their load and let them know what they had to expect. The problem was for me sometimes is when I took on another case, because I'm on my 3rd now, it really brings you back to your own experience. You go through it all over again through someone else. It does pull you down a bit, so you have to stay strong. You have to really keep yourself in emotionally good state to be able to help someone else. Otherwise, I might not have been able to do it. But the good thing is the social worker who you deal with there at Hope and Cope, who gives you the call to say, do you want to help? There's another person. She says, do you feel okay to take it on? And she tells me a little bit, briefs me, and then she gives me time to think about it, and I'll call her back and say yes or no.
So what do you do, for instance, to lift somebody's spirits?
I do give them my phone number. I tell them they can call me anytime, day or night, if they really need to. If I'm not available and I don't answer, it's because I'm sleeping and I didn't hear it, or I will call them back as soon as I'm free again. I listen. The most important thing is listening, because they're going through a really rough time. And I've been there, done that, so they know I know what they're talking about. It's different than talking to your friends who, oh, everything will be okay, you know. You don't feel that. You don't know if everyone, and nobody knows if everything's going to be okay. I know what I went through. I don't give them false hopes. I tell them the reality. I don't scare them and say, oh, by the way, you're going to have this horrible thing happen. But I definitely don't put on rose-colored glasses for them. I say, it's going to be rough, but I'm here. I got through it. Look, I'm here. You know, I'm
You're
still
living
alive,
proof,
and
so that
I'm
gives
living
them-
proof
sure.
right now.
Yeah.
I can't talk for your own experience, but I could just tell you that this chemo does work. For me, it has worked. I don't know. But the most important thing is to live each moment and make that person feel they're going to get through that moment.
I know you don't go to Hope and Cope to volunteer to make yourself feel better. Nevertheless, it must feel pretty good.
It feels good to be able to know I could give back like that I could help someone else. That way it feels really good. And they benefit, like they thank me and they're so appreciative and they buy me little gifts, which I didn't expect. But it's kind of like, it's really special to be able to say, I'm here for you. You're not alone. And that, I think, is the most important thing that we do, that we let them know they're not alone.
Mona, thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
My pleasure.
That is Mona Wizenberg, a volunteer peer mentor at Hope and Cope, an organization within CIUS West Central Montreal. It offers psychosocial support for people dealing with cancer. There are support groups, coping skills workshops, stress management. They also have a terrific gym, and there is no charge. For more on the kinds of services they offer, their website is hopeandcope.ca. Phone number 514-340-3616. 514-340-3616. And that's it for this edition of Your Health. Thank you for your time. To hear our previous programs, you could find them at podcast.ciuswestcentral.ca. podcast.ciusswestcentral.ca. And let us know if there's a topic you'd like us to explore in the future. I'm Barry Morgan. Until next time.
You've been listening to Your Health, a podcast of the Integrated Health and Social Services University Network for West Central Montreal.